back with another episode of To the Moon. And on this episode, I have one of my favorite people, which you've never heard me say before, but actually, yes, you have, because everybody on this podcast is my favorite, Jose being one of my most favorite. Brother, welcome to the moon, man. I am so happy to have you here. I feel like, you and I have gotten to know each other over the last year, and I've bonded to you, man. I genuinely love who you are, what you're all about, but seeing you succeed, from where you came in and what you've got going on right now has been very, very inspiring to me as somebody who's helping you in the process of doing that, right? And to see how you've just taken control of your life, taking control of aspects like your health and finances is all really wonderful. And so without further ado, Jose, welcome to the moon, brother. How you been, man?
Man, I've been great, bro. Honestly, it's a blessing to be here. I just want to say thank you so much, because I've never done anything like this, and I've never spoke in front of a camera or like in front of, other people. But I remember the mastermind was actually the first time I ever got up, and you're like, who wants to get on the hot seat? I was the first one to raise my hand. And I told myself going into that mastermind, I came here to change.
You did, and you did transform, right? It's a thing about transformation, changing is it's uncomfortable. I don't never met anybody who has evolved and said, yeah, it wasn't uncomfortable at times. It's going to be uncomfortable at times because you're going to need to break down old versions of who you are. You got to break down old ideas of who you think you are. You got to break down limits and barriers that have been keeping you down and holding you into a space so that you can expand into a completely different human being. And that you've accomplished. And so, Jose, do us a favor. And as I know who you are, there's folks watching right now who are seeing you for the first time. So walk us back, right? Take us through this journey. How did you find entrepreneurship? How did you find me and wholesaling? What was that all like?
So it all started like when I had my firstborn. I started thinking like, okay, I got this job. It was a pretty good job, and then I went to school for it, got certificates, and then I got into a really good job. I'm working at the Port of Oakland, and there's great benefits, great retirement, and the only thing is I'm working 60, 70 hours a week,
right?
And my kids are growing, and I'm missing a lot of stuff. So it's like I always had this desire to want more than just working. I always wanted to have a business. I always had a business mindset, but I just never knew what. And throughout the years, I just was stumbling across things, but I always started it and didn't finish it. I was inconsistent with my own journey.
And it's kind of normal too, right? When you've got pressures and things kind of holding you back and you're doing things without a lot of support or a community behind you, you got to do all of the stuff yourself.
Yeah.
And, let's face it, right? When the bills start piling up, you're working 60 hours a week, you got children that want your attention and need your attention. How do you focus on building something where you have all of it on your shoulders? It's an impossible task at times. And then, the mind will do what the mind will do, and it'll talk you out of it, right? It'll say to you, hey, man, it's just probably not for you, right? This life has you working 60 hours a week. This life has you working all day and leaving just enough time for your children. And brother, that's all we can do. But you were not satisfied with that, right? So how wholesaling? What was that all about? Because working at the Port of Oakland doesn't really put you in proximity to people who are flipping contracts. So what was that journey like?
So 2022, I actually started thinking about real estate. I actually first started with Airbnbs. I started with that course. I actually finished that course, but I didn't ever start an Airbnb. And the reason why is because I always thought you needed, money, and the community wasn't really there to support. The community was there, and I'm not going to put the name out there, but it was there, but nobody ever spoke. Every time I asked questions, nobody answered, and people were just showing their success and not showing how to do it.
Okay.
So I started off there, and then after that, I'm like, man, this isn't for me. So I joined another one, which was actually a flipping course. And in that flipping course, you were actually you were at his seminar, and I heard you speak. And when I heard you speak, I knew a little bit about wholesaling because in that course there was a section for wholesaling, but it was the door knocking, the bandit sign, all that. I was just like, man, this sounds interesting. You don't need that much, but I don't know, whatever. And then after that, I heard you on his seminar, and I was just like, this guy, you caught my attention. And then after that, you know how YouTube works. I started seeing you everywhere.
Yeah.
After that, literally after that seminar, and then
It's strange. Yeah, it is. I don't know how the phones and social media just seem to tap into our brains and show us, the things. But cool, good. I'm happy. Thank you, algorithm, for helping us connect. Right. So you start watching my videos, and eventually you make a leap into astroflipping. And I'm sure that was a little bit difficult for you to do after having just invested in 2 other programs, right? Like that's. But I want to understand that, right? Because there's probably people watching this right now who have invested in another community, or let's not even call them communities. Maybe they've invested in a course, right?
Yeah.
And again, I applaud investing in yourself. I applaud investing in education that's going to be helpful to you. So, what was the difference between a course and a community? Like what have you seen? And let's talk about it. Like, how much were those? How much did that cost?
So the Airbnb course was 3,000, and the flipping one was I want to say it was like 5,000. That one was 5,000.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you're like $8,000 in and no result, right? And so and those were courses. The information, I imagine, was okay, right? Like, you were satisfied with the information you learned?
No. The Airbnb, yes.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. Actually, like, now that I look at it, I can't wait until I can start doing those myself with.
Got it. So you can still go back and refer back to that.
Exactly.
So you haven't lost any money or anything like that, because you're going to do that eventually anyways, right? Yeah, cool. I love Airbnbs. I have one, and multiple actually that I love, and I get to visit and, have family stay in them. So to me, they're phenomenal investments. Plus they save me on taxes, depreciation, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Right. So I think Airbnbs and whatnot are great. But so flipping's not for you. You didn't really enjoy what you got out of that, but it leads you to this situation where we come into contact, and now you start getting interested in wholesaling, right? And so I remember, and I'll never forget, when you attended the Astroflipping Mastermind, right, which is only available to Astroflipping community members. You can't just walk in off the street and attend. You've got to be a part of the community. And I only say come when you feel called to come, because these are transformative situations, right? The mastermind is 3 days of, I'm going to crack you open and turn you into a different person. And we do it together, right? We do it in a journey. And so, walk us through what that was like for you. Like, and what has that shift been for you since having attended?
Oh man, that's what changed everything. Honestly, it changed me for the best. The crazy story is, so 2022, I got into all those courses, right? And I'm going to be honest with you guys, because I want everybody to learn from my mistake. I learned business credit. I learned, that's another course I took, business credit, personal credit, so I knew how to start an LLC, how to get business credit. It's very dangerous. And if I wasn't blessed with the job that I have now, I don't know what I would be doing. But honestly, $81,000 in debt, because I was using all that business credit to join courses, right? So the very last of my money, the business credit that I used, was literally on the court on Astroflipping and the mastermind. And I scraped everything I had, but I had this calling on, just like, I know I can get myself out of this, but I need this. And I would not ever suggest that to anybody.
Wow, dude. I had no idea, bro. This is the first time you've ever shared this with me. And I think I'm grateful that you have, because this is an important conversation to folks that are listening in on this, right? I'm not a proponent of that. I think that it's just as Jose had said, it's very dangerous. This is why I've always said, when you're a part of the community in Astro, we're going to really dive into strategies that aren't going to cost you a bunch of money to go do, right? I'm a firm believer in doing the work. And I know the work that I do works. So come in, hit the KPIs, hit your numbers, and we will see success, and we will walk you through community holding your hand across the finish line to get it. So, the other things hadn't really yielded you any money, although you did learn in the Airbnb one. And so you're here, you're in debt. So how's Astro been different?
Man, that's why I wanted to get back to that. Astroflipping, I did the course week 1. Whew, it opened my mind like I never opened my mind before. I always felt like I had a strong mindset, but it took me a month to get through week 1. honestly, because I didn't want to skip it. Something
Yeah.
told me don't skip week 1, even though it's like it's not where the meat and potatoes are, like you say, week 3 is. Week 1 is the most important though, because
I
it
agree.
gets you really thinking very deeply. Like you said, you thought you were getting into wholesaling, but really I'm going to dig into your mind and open your mind so that you're ready for when the success comes. Because if you just try to get the money without the mindset, you're not going to make it far in life. You're just going to go back to broke. And that's why I feel like a lot of people that never learned how to manage money go broke when they do get it, because they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to even be generous with it. What are you
Right.
going to do with the blessing when God blesses you? You got to bless others, because he blesses those that bless others,
Yes,
and
sir.
that's what this community has showed me. This community has, man, everybody. Okay. First off, I've never been around so many positive people. I used to be very closed minded. I used to be very like, I didn't want to, if I didn't know you, I didn't want to know you.
Yeah,
If
I get that.
my family kind of depends on me, so I never wanted to ask questions or ask for help, because everybody that needs help comes to me. But this community helped me crack those barriers down and turn me into who I am today. And I know a lot of people probably think, is he in a cult? Like what? Like, because out of nowhere, yeah, seriously, because I started speaking about Jesus a lot, and I've gotten a lot closer to God.
It's funny, right? Because and for anybody watching right now, it's like, wait, hold on, what's going on here? Okay, so I'm not going to hide the fact I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God. I'm a believer, and we begin all of our calls in a prayer, and that's just how it is. And beyond that, I am a firm believer in collaborating with a higher intelligence, with a higher power, to help us get to the places we need to go. I don't think you get anywhere alone. And I think that God uses other human beings to bless us and to take us to different spots, right? Because that's the purpose and the power of being connected to people, is to be able to work and to be in each other's worlds and lives, to teach lessons, to open up perspectives, to show pathways and new opportunities that we may not have been able to have been blessed with on our own, right? And so this is the purpose. And so yeah, I can imagine that sometimes people looking out, especially if for the last 20 years you've never had God come out your mouth, and all of a sudden you're speaking about Jesus, all of a sudden you start making more money, all of a sudden you're looking a little different, you got a little bit of a twinkle in your eye. They're waiting to see when's Jose going to come to work with that purple Kool-Aid, you know what I'm saying? And be like, hey guys, I'm out. Like what? But that's not it, right? It's a community. This is a community of brothers and sisters that really truly care. And I think that you've been one of those people that has been vocal about the love and the help that you've gotten from the community. So let's work into that a little bit, right? So how has the community, forget me, how has the community been able to be effective for you? And what are the things that you've done to create relationships, and how has that helped?
So when like part of the course, you go to like, I forgot which week it is, but it says go introduce yourself to the group. So I made that initial post. Hey, how's it going? My name is Jose. And when I first started off, I was in the Bay Area market, because that's where I'm local to, Northern California. So I said, hey, I'm in the Northern California market. This is my goal, and this is I'm reaching out to say hi. And everybody just, hey, welcome, like so many people just welcome, and then so many DMs. And the first DM I ever got was from Courtney Bolton. Shout out to my sister. She just like, hey, I just wanted to reach out because me and my husband Carlos Bolton, we both used to live in the Bay Area in Fairfield. I'm like, oh, that's crazy, And then she was like, let's get on the call. And I'm just like, okay, let's go. And I never did for like maybe like a month, because I was just trying to figure everything out. It was just so new to me. And
also, you're just new, so you're like, why are they so nice? Like, what? Yeah. Are they going to try to sell me something, or is this like, what's going on here? I can understand apprehension like that, especially having come from what you just came from. Multiple courses, business credit, debt, all the things, right? It's like you come in and you're not expecting that people are just automatically going to jump up and say hello to you, but then DM you and say, let's jump on a call. You're like, bro, what's happening right now, right? Who's going to ask me for my credit card next?
Yeah, seriously, no. And that's the crazy part is like, she was so quick to give me her phone number. And then like everybody, it wasn't just her, but she was the first person that ever reached out to me. And that seed planted, and, I actually ended up talking to her and Carlos. And I was just like, man, I'm so stuck in the Bay Area market. I don't know, but they're just like, that's not my market. I don't really know it like that. So they're just like, we just kept talking, and out of nowhere, they're just like, why don't you just come to Jacksonville, Florida market? And I was just like, okay. And like, we'll teach you everything. We'll teach you how to get your numbers. We'll teach you how to comp. We'll teach you everything you need to know. And I said, all right, let's do it. And I sure did. And that was in April, right after the mastermind. And the first month there, I got my first deal. And that
which was huge, right? I mean, the entire community celebrated for Jose when he pulled it together and got his first deal done, because we fell in love with the guy, right? He came in, he come onto the calls, guys. He got his vest on. He's working at the port, right? Like this dude is a no nonsense, right? And we're talking about sneaking away in the middle of a shift or whatever. He's like, he's supposed to be eating lunch, and he's just like, okay, guys, I have a question. And there he is, and we can all see he's actively at work, right? This dude's wearing his vest, like but again, he came in with this fire in his belly to say, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna accomplish this, and I'm not gonna make Courtney wrong, I'm not gonna make Jamil wrong, I'm not gonna make Carlos wrong, I'm not gonna make my gut instinct that's telling me that this is for me wrong. I'm not gonna look at the fact that I'm developing a relationship that's closer to God right now as something that's wrong. I'm gonna do right by all of this. And so, and I'm not here, please don't think that I'm saying getting a deal done is proving that. It's not. What's proving it is him showing up every day. Forget the deal, forget the money, right? I say this a lot, and I'm going to say it again today, is that you were entitled to the work, not the result. Fall in love with consistency. That's the goal, not the check. Right. And so when we are in that, when we know that discipline is what's going to help us get there, when we can shake off the cravings of stopping and just indulging mediocrity, then we get to become who we're meant to be on this planet. And I have watched you do that, right? I've watched you not only do it in money, so you get your first deal, but you were saying to me, hey, I'm going to start losing weight. And you look, I mean, I know you've yo-yoed a little bit, and let's just keep it 100 here. Yeah, you lost some, you gained it back, you lost some, you gained it back, but you are doing it, right? And guys, this is coming from a guy who was just 70 pounds heavier myself on some of these previous podcast episodes that you've watched, right? And so it's important that we take care of ourselves, not only for our own, physical feeling, appearance, but for our kids, so that we can leave a good example of how you should honor the body to the children that are watching us. But beyond that, so that we live long enough to enjoy them. And so these things are important. And I've watched you, man. You've transformed physically. You've transformed economically. You've transformed mentally. You've transformed spiritually. I mean, how do you feel right now? Like, who is Jose today?
Man, I found myself finally. This year is like a year of the biggest growth I've ever had in my life. I never grown so much so fast. And it's been a bumpy road. Like you said, I've started and stopped my diet maybe 4 or 5 times this year, but I started again, and I'm not going to stop, and I keep telling myself when I don't want to go to the gym, there's another feeling. There's something behind that that's telling me I need to go, I can't give up on myself anymore. I've always put everybody else first, which isn't a bad thing, but it's good. It's okay to be selfish. That's what I'm learning. It's okay to be selfish sometimes. You think about yourself and
I think that really understanding how honoring the self is honoring others is, I think, really important, because one of the things that a doctor had said to me once, I had visited a doctor as I was pretty heavy at the time, and we were talking about my weight, and I was explaining my schedule to him. And they said, one thing that I'll never forget. Well, he's like, well, you must really love your wife. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course I do. Why? It's like, well, you're working really hard for her and her future husband. And to me, I was just like, oh, thanks, man. Yeah. Wow. Not that that's okay too, right? If something happened to me and my wife got remarried, and the part of my legacy and fortune ended up in that cat's pocket, well, so be it. It is what it is. But at the same time, I don't want that. I want to be here. I want to be here to enjoy that with my family and to be around to see my kids grow. And I know that being physically healthy is important in that process. And so tell us about what it looks like right now for you in the business. What's it been, the last, what's your last sort of deal volume been like?
So since my first one, May wasn't. Oh, here I got a tattoo.
Hey, look at that. That's the date. 5/10.
Yeah, 5/10/23.
23. My goodness. Look at that. Love it. Love it.
Since then, I've been able to close 4 total.
Yeah, dude.
So pretty much it was once a month. One deal a month.
Yep. And you're still working your W-2 job.
Yeah, and I'm doing 60, 70 hours. So, I just want to let everybody know. I want to be the example that you can work your butt off for somebody else, but also don't forget about yourself. Build your legacy because you're helping someone else build theirs.
This is amazing, dude. And so, even on the side, right? If you are right now, and Jose makes good money in his job. How would you not working 60 to 70 hours a week at the port? You're going to make good money. But think about it, right? If you could use an extra 10 grand, 7 grand, 5 grand a month in that, what would that look like to your life, right? $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 is a lot of money, and it can go a long way for your monthly expenses. But more than that, you can create for yourself a cushion, right? You can, Jose does another, say 10 more deals, and he banks that money because, he only needs to live off of what he's getting in the W-2. But if he banks the profits that he's making on this, right, does he not give himself a runway? Could he not give himself a runway to theoretically say, look, I've been consistently closing these deals month after month after month. I've now got this $50,000 in savings available to me right now. I'm going to go buy myself 3 months, 90 days of runway so that I can finally let my W-2 go and turn this into a full-time gig, right? This is what I call the parachute deal. This is what I'm saying when you can create for yourself the opportunity to finally be the master of your own destiny. And I believe this is what Jose's ultimate goal is, to finally earn his freedom, earn his time back, be able to spend those minutes that are non-refundable with his children, right? And so if there's somebody right now watching this thing and they're in despair, they've got a little bit of hope, but it's quickly waning, what would you tell them?
You can't give up on yourself. In my example, I have my family. You got to have a reason why. Why do you want to do this? And your why has to be strong enough to get you through all those storms because, it's coming. The hard times are going to come, but don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your hopes and your dreams because you feel like you work too much or you feel like you have too much distractions going on. Like you have to sacrifice, you gotta sacrifice time. Like my kids, they're here with me now, but when I come home from work, I took today off. But when I come home from work, they're there, I'm there present with them, but I'm comping houses, I'm putting in offers. Like you got to use your time wisely, honestly. And you got to do it until that time comes where it's pretty much automated, And
I agree.
It works for itself, and there does come a time when that happens, but until then, it's grind mode. You got to grind. You got to keep going. It's not about how many deals you can get a month. It's about do you know what a deal looks like? Do you know how to break it down? Like, do you know the process from A to Z? Like, first is the lead, then getting that lead into a comp, and then getting that comp into an offer, then getting that offer accepted. And then after that, from A to Z. And
yep. It's a process, but a very, very learnable one. And here you are putting it together. Would you say that all that business credit that you took out is finally paying off, and the fact that you have learned and have finally gotten a skill that's going to help you get out of debt and get out of your situation?
I was going to say that next, honestly, too. That's crazy. So I came into this community and I was like, oh, I can make some side money on this. And I feel like maybe, I see some people winning. I didn't see the winners, like the big, huge winners. And I'm just like, the more I look into the community, the more I get more involved with the community. I'm seeing people $100,000 months, $400,000 months.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah.
And that right there, I just knew I was in the right circle. I'm in the circle of winners. That's, even the people that aren't winning, they have a winning mindset. That like there's so much positivity in this community that has brought the light to me. And now I want to bring the light to the community. And that's why I engage into the community a lot, and I want to uplift those people. And now that I'm no longer in the Jacksonville market. After those 4 deals.
Where are you now? So people are going to want to know how they can work with you. What market are you working in primarily?
So now I'm back in Northern California, the Bay Area market. So I'm covering the whole Bay Area, Sacramento, San Joaquin. And yeah, I mean, I just had this calling, that come back to Northern California because, September 5th, 2021, I almost passed away from COVID. And, I was in the hospital for a week fighting for my life. And I was praying to God, telling God all this and that. And September 5th, this year, I just got this like calling, like I saw that picture of me in the hospital. I'm just like, you made all these promises to God, and I'm gonna get my health right. I'm gonna get closer to Him, and I'm finally fulfilling that 2 years later. And I took a week off, and I was praying and asking God, what do I need to do? Because I weighed myself, and I saw that I gained 12 pounds that I lost, and I totaled up my debt, and that's when I found out I'm 81,000 in debt. And God just said, leave Jacksonville and go to the Bay Area. And it was the hardest decision ever because, I joined Keighley with Carlos and Courtney. I went to Arizona, went to the best Keighley training ever. You guys train amazing. I just want to give you a huge shout out because your Keighley training team, Amelia, I love her, Julio, all those ACT reps, Alex, Andy, you got a killer team over there. I just want to say.
Thank you. Yeah, I would agree. They are a group of very special people for sure. And I know that the decision to get into Northern California wasn't taken lightly by you, but you've been doing a deal a month since. Things are great. You've got pipeline money right now. You've got money in the future. You've got money closing. You've got money that already closed. But there's people out there right now who are looking at a deal in Northern California, somewhere in the Bay Area, and they're like, man, I just don't know what to do with. I just don't know how to sell this. I just don't know how much I should offer on this property. So Jose, tell us, how do people get to work with you? How can somebody get into your world and do a deal with you right now?
So you can follow me on Instagram. It's The Working Investor, but it's THEW2. So like the Working W2, THEW2. ORKING investor. And
what's your phone number?
My phone number is 925-628-9831.
There you go, guys. And, send him a text. Follow him on Instagram. Jose, he is real. In fact, he's so real, he's got it in his last name. Villareal, he is on the moon with us. You are not only inspiring, brother. I love you. You are just, one of my most dear family in this community. And, welcome to the moon. You deserve to be here. And I can't wait to see how you smash it over the next 12 to 24 months. I love you, bro.
Thank you, bro. I love you too. And hey, make sure to subscribe to Jamil's YouTube channel. And
that's my job. Oh, guys, like and subscribe. I'm just kidding, guys. Do whatever you want, but you owe me for it. So, yeah. Jose, I love you, bro.
I love you, bro.
Until the next one, guys. We're out. Right.